This presentation is copyright Electric Power Engineers 2025, all rights reserved. The topic presented concerns important dates or deadlines and is specific to United States ISO and/or territories. The hosts for today are presenting virtually from across North America, and registered attendees are from across the globe. If you are interested in learning more about EPE, this topic, or want to hear about upcoming webinars and conferences, please use the link to subscribe to our newsletter. We'd also like to get your feedback on today's presentation. At the end of the webinar, we will ask for your thoughts and for topics you'd like to hear about in the future. Thank you, and enjoy the webinar.
Welcome to Electric Power Engineers 2025 webinar presentation on maximizing your SPP interconnection strategy ahead of the March 1st deadline. Your hosts for today's webinar are Horea Catanase, Senior Director of Interconnection Services, and Amanda King, Director, Interconnection Services. If you have any questions for our hosts or our team during the webinar, please use the live chat feature. If we do not get to your question during the presentation, our team will follow up after via email. Thank you for joining us, and please enjoy the webinar presentation.
Hello, everybody. My name is Horea. I'm the Senior Director of Interconnection Services here at EPE. First of all, thank you for attending this wonderful webinar from wherever you are in the world. A little bit about myself. I've been with EPE for 3 years. I was brought in to expand our capabilities in the Eastern Interconnect and work with developers like yourselves to help them navigate interconnection processes across all of the Eastern Interconnect. But we're here to talk SPP. SPP, it's a market that's very, very dear and near to my heart. We do a lot of work in SPP here at EPE. We support them directly through our utilities team, but we also, on our energy resources side, we do a lot of work with developers. We've helped over 100 of them navigate interconnection processes here, submitted complete applications in multiple cycles, and we can really help you from A to Z in this market. Before that, I used to work at the different consulting firms supporting ISOs, and I started my career in Ireland. Amanda, I know you're new to EPE. Maybe we'll pass it on to you to introduce yourself.
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Amanda King. I, as Horea said, just joined EPE within a short amount of time and happy to be here on this side of the business. I come from a over 20-year career at an electric utility. So doing a lot of the same sort of work, but from just a different point of view. I was the director in transmission there for many years, working through interconnections, load interconnections, generation interconnections, all of the different facets of transmission planning. So excited to be here today to talk. And what we are going to dig into a little bit today with a little bit of a Q&A is the newest, most up-to-date SPP interconnection queue open window. So the window is open until March 1st, which is coming up very quickly, which is why we wanted to get in front of you all today and talk about what you can do to maximize the time in that window and how EPE can help you moving through the process. So Horea, this is a really important topic, but there's probably people that don't even understand what the queue is. So maybe you could give a little background on why we're here, what is the queue, and what should we know about it?
Awesome, absolutely. So the SPP window or SPP queue is the time where developers can really apply and submit a project into the SPP footprint. It's typically a limited period of time after which the queue closes, and you'll have to wait until the next cycle to submit a project and be studied by SPP for interconnection. Why is that important? Well, I mean, we have an upcoming queue deadline on March 1st. So if you want to get your project in this year, it's really important to be aware of that and make sure you have everything submitted by that point. And the reason that's also even more important right now is because the next cluster in SPP is not going to be until next year. And it's set to close towards the end of next year. So really, a lot of those projects won't even be looked at until 2027. So that's, I think, really important for developers to be aware of. Anything else you'd like to add, Amanda?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think just what you said, that's the most important thing right now. This queue is one we haven't seen a tight timeline like this, where there's not going to be a queue for quite some time, as you just mentioned. So the next open window not closing until the end of 2026 leaves quite a gap in time if you don't make this March 1st deadline this year.
Awesome. Perfect. I guess it's my turn to ask you a question, Amanda. So I guess why is SPP such a critical market for us at EPE, and how does our experience differentiate maybe from other folks that are in this space?
With SPP, we have got a ton of knowledge, both on the queue process itself, from all of the expertise we have in submitting interconnection requests, applications, being there with the client from the moment they want to submit that application all the way through the completion of their project through various groups at EPE. And SPP itself as a market is very important in the renewable energy field, as it covers geographic areas in the Dakotas with really strong wind profiles. And then you have areas in Southwest and New Mexico with really strong solar energy in that region. So a great footprint to invest in renewables. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the other thing on, how we differentiate ourselves, I love to spend a bit of time on this. I think we have one of the largest teams in the industry, right? We have probably over 70 to 80 people that are just focused on supporting renewable energy developers navigate those interconnection processes. We've done it a lot in SPP. As I said, I think in my intro, we've supported over 100 applications in SPP alone and several hundreds across all of North America. And I think that really differentiates us. And maybe two more things. I have to say, our people, we have people that come with a ton of experience in the market. I mean, obviously, you, Amanda, are a perfect example of that. And finally, the last thing I would say is our ability to help you beyond just the application, right? The application is the first step, but what we really see us shine in is the ability to kind of take you from A to Z in the SPP market and beyond. Really, we're here to support you with the application as a first step, but we want to be a partner to you as you navigate the entirety of the SPP process. With that in mind, I'd love to ask you, Amanda, about maybe some of the most common challenges clients face when preparing interconnection applications, and how do we at EP address them?
Absolutely. I think some of the most common challenges in any RTO, but we can talk specifically about SPP right now, is the requirements are constantly changing, whether those are federal processes, the ISO processes, or even the transmission owner in the immediate area. It's changing constantly. And that's something that EPE can stay on top of. And we do stay on top of that and help the clients with the most up-to-date information, the best model expertise in the area. And again, which we keep mentioning because I think it's really important and rare in a consultant, is that we're here to follow you from A to Z. We start with getting that interconnection application in and follow you through all of the process as you go back and forth from SPP. We're there to help you if there's deficiencies they find, all the way through their Q studies until you can actually get your interconnection agreement signed and get shovels in the ground. So I think that's something that definitely makes us unique when you're looking at a consultant to help you with the process.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. Well, then what steps do you think clients need to take immediately to make sure they make that March 1st deadline?
I guess it probably sounds simple, but apply, right? We need to start helping you prepare that application as soon as possible. It takes probably 3 to 4 weeks to do it. We've done it on expedited timelines in the past, but it's good to get in early. I always say you want to try and avoid heartburn in the last week, trying to scramble and submit an application when you're trying to maybe get your land deals across. It's better to start the application process as early as possible. And we don't have a lot of time considering March 1st is right around the corner, right? So it sounds simple, but I would say starting that conversation as soon as possible and getting started on the application is the most important thing to make that deadline.
Absolutely. Just to take that a little bit further, can you share an example of a challenging, or as you talked about, the expedited applications where we were able to deliver not only results, but exceptional results for the client in those circumstances?
Absolutely. I like to think of an application as 1,000 things that have to go right in order to make a successful application, right? We help you with like an RFI. We send you a big document that has everything that we need from you in order to produce the application. Beyond that, a lot of that stuff we can develop for you on your behalf. So if you don't have the data, don't worry, we can use typical values. That's our approach with our partners, right? Like you don't have to stress about maybe you don't have exact transformer data, or maybe you don't have some of the inverter parameters. We've worked on so many of these applications that we can do all of that for you. So I think that's something that's kind of really important to flag up front. In terms of expediting the process, I mean, I think the team will help me for even saying this, but I mean, we've had throughout our history times where some of our really, really close partners were in a bind. They came to us 2 to 3 days before needing an application done, and we're able to put it together. Now, that's by no means our standard. And as I said, we don't want to be scrambling at the end, but we have done that in the past. In terms of challenging applications, say we've done what we like to call internally a super hybrid, so 3 different fuel sources. We've done a couple of those applications in the past, and they can be a little bit challenging, especially when it comes to the design of those projects. A little bit outside of the queue, but we've done surplus applications, which are a little bit more niche and unique, and not maybe everybody's familiar with the process for that. And really, I'll kind of come back to some of the things that we discussed initially, right? We want to be your partner throughout the whole process. Yes, we can start with the application, but we're there for you throughout the entire project lifecycle. And a lot of times, I will be honest, during the application stage, that's when we really connect with a lot of our partners, right? They might have a ton of other questions that don't even relate to the application. We're there for you. We're there to help you through the process, and we're there to help you through the entire process. So the application is just kind of the first step or one of the steps where we can support you. So I would say those are my my highlights, but I don't know if you have anything else to add, Amanda.
The only thing I'll add is most recently in industry being on the other side of the fence, looking to hire consultants myself. I just know what I've seen with EPE, extremely high quality work, and one of the rare firms to really partner with you and follow through the process, not just deliver a specific piece of what you're looking for. So definitely something appreciated. And I think, when we start to talk about what resources and tools EPE can offer to help with the process, as you mentioned, it's the largest team, I think, anywhere that really is just working on renewable generation interconnection. We know how to do it. We do it well. We've hired a very strong team, very careful who we bring in and careful that they're the best and can produce the best results. Also, internally, we've got a lot of automation tools that have been developed in-house to really help go through the process, get strong results, do things in the expedited manner like you were talking about when we need to, and without losing the quality, and be able to meet all of those tight deadlines that SPP puts out there, like the one coming up in not much more than a month. Okay. So, Horea, we talked a lot about the process and being with the client from A to Z. What does that mean? Once they submit something into the SPP interconnection queue, what's next for them? What could they run into? What can we provide?
That's a great question. So typically, after they submit the application, obviously SPP and the transmission owners review the data that was provided. And sometimes, frankly speaking, a lot of times there's minor deficiencies. They might ask clarifying questions. They might come back on certain topics that were discussed. That's when we typically jump in. We help the client answer everything that's outstanding. After that, typically there is a kickoff call with the ISO and the utility to kind of discuss the project. The developer gets a chance to ask additional questions. Utility might have some questions. The ISOs might have additional questions, but that's a really great opportunity for project specific details to be discussed. Sometimes we discuss a lot of the routing on how the project is going to be connected. Right of ways, again, the utility is usually really, really helpful with that. And we really partner with you part of that meeting too. So we're going to be part of the meeting, help you ask questions, help get questions answered. So yeah, we're really there for you throughout this entire interconnection application process. And then to give you a little bit of a taster of what else happens afterwards is once all of the applications get validated and deficiencies get cleared, the SPP is going to start their study process. A lot of the times they build what's called base cases for which they run the analysis on. Again, a lot of the times they release those base cases before they release results. So what typically we do with a lot of our partners is we help them run some of these studies ahead of getting the studies from the ISO. And why is that important, you may ask? Well, typically when the ISOs run the studies, when they get results, you start the decision point. That decision point has basically 15 business days to make a decision on whether you want to stay or withdraw or reduce your size. It's really, really, really difficult from our experience to make decisions in such a short period of time. So by us pre-running those studies, you get a sense of what to expect ahead of time, and you have more time to run sensitivities and look at alternatives, right? Again, that's really the type of work that we do. And by the way, in our history, we've worked a lot of our clients to do exactly this. Prepare for the results, get some advanced warning on what to expect. And sometimes even afterwards, people reach out to us and say, hey, we've had unfavorable results. Can you help us understand them? Can you help us really digest those results? What would happen if withdrawals are in the queue? Can you make sure the study was run accurately? And again, that's where we really come in and we can add a ton of value. We've saved projects from being withdrawn. We've saved people hundreds of millions of dollars in network upgrade costs by finding alternatives or basically helping them understand that, hey, if you sit in and there's 3 projects that we draw, that will really change your cost allocation. So that's typically what we do. We can help with material modifications. We can help you understand your GIA and negotiate that. We can help with like limited operation studies if you want to come into service before your network upgrades are ready. A ton of different things. Probably the subject of a future webinar, but this is just to give you a flavor of what else we can support with.
So basically maximizing their investment and helping them reduce costs where they can going through the process.
Exactly. We're all about making the project successful, right? So we're there with them to ensure that outcome.
Great. Thank you.
Of course. To be honest, I think this kind of concludes a lot of our Q&A around like the application process, how we can support the team that we have. But I will really urge you, if you have further questions or if there's anything else that you kind of want to hear from us, reach out. We're here to support you. We're happy to talk to you about how we can make your project successful. That's really our goal, is to make you successful, make your project successful. And as I said, we do that from A to Z. So thank you very much for attending this webinar.
Thank you.